Hello, everyone. What's going on? It's Sal Stretford Post. How you all doing? And welcome to Breaking Dawn. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Sunday so far. Welcome to Stretford Post. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new and smash a like on the video. If you guys can do that, it'd be absolutely fantastic. You know, it's all about smashing a like on the video. You got to help the video out, guys. Help it get up that algorithm chart. Do you know what I mean? That is what it's all about, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. You absolute legends, guys. It is match day again. What? It is match day again. It is match day. Manchester United play a very, very, very low-key game against Brentford tonight. Later on this afternoon. It is this evening for me, but you know what? It is afternoon in England. So Man United play Brentford. It is a a game that I would look at and say, look, let's go out there and this show them what we're made of. I saw the squad leaving, obviously, Manchester Piccadilly, going down to London. I think it was Manchester Piccadilly, or it's Charlton, was it? Or Stockport Station. And, leaving to go down to the game. And there was a very, very experienced team there, a very experienced squad, barring the likes of Fredrickson and Amas and Chido. The squad looked very, very experienced. And I'm a little bit concerned about that. I'm a little bit disappointed by that. I did feel like that we could have played a few youngsters. We could have used this opportunity to play a few youngsters. I thought that would have been more sufficient. But at the same time, I do get it. I do get the fact that, you know what, we're going to be looking at the game on Thursday, maybe giving some of these players some game time, getting them some, match fitness. And, Ahmad and De Ligt definitely need to start tonight. I believe that because obviously getting match fit is very important. Let's get to some of your comments, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome, Tamiso, Kenny. Tamiso's a troll. Big up, Kenny. Amir, in Amram we trust. Big up, Amir. Big up. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, Sanjay. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Good morning, Sal. How you doing? I'm doing good, Natty. Good to see you. How you doing? Good to see you, of course. Morning, Sal. How are you? Good, Shah. How are you feeling? Are you well? Are you well? Hello, hi. Aaron, what's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Good morning, Man United fans. Good to see Aaron in the house. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Arsenal fans are crying that they are a reactionary fan. Arsenal. I warned them. We warned them. We warned Arsenal. We did warn them. We did tell them. We told them about the birds and the bees, but they didn't want to listen to us about the birds and the bees. Absolutely. And this. I mean, they get their hopes up so high, that they come crashing down more times than not. And this is the problem with Arsenal fans, they get overly giddy. They get overly excited about things, you know what I mean? And, their saving grace is Wednesday. They've got the game against PSG. The game isn't over, by the way. I'm not saying that Arsenal game is over, but there is a high probability that Arsenal will be out of the Champions League on Wednesday. Cheers. There is a high probability that Arsenal will be out of the Champions League on Wednesday. And to be honest with you, they deserve it. Absolutely. What time is the Brentford game UK time? I think it's 2 o'clock, Shah, UK time. For me, it will be 5 o'clock my time. I will be here. Big up, Amir. Big up, Vamos, my friend. Big up. Jim, loose your pockets. Absolutely. Jim. Thursday, we must finish the business, Rasta. We will, my friend. We'll be there, my friend. How you doing, brother? Hope you're doing well, mate. Hope you're good, Rasta. Asna lost again. You know what I mean? Look, you know what they're saying? And even now, look, ciao. Look, even now, they're like, oh, you know what? We're gonna put all our baskets into Wednesday. It's all about Wednesday. It's all about Wednesday. This match does not matter. It's all about Wednesday. Where we heard this all before, this is prime Arsenal, isn't it? This is classic Arsenal. This season is turning out to be like classic Arsenal. This is like a classic episode of Arsenal. This absolute like a Netflix series, just like Patrice ever says. Next season, Arsenal are like Netflix. We always got to wait for the next season. Unless it's the Empire, which I was waiting for the next season, and the basically it didn't turn up. So basically a bit like Arsenal trying to build an empire, but every time they try to build an empire, there's never another series. So, you know what I mean? There you go. Just starts again, around and around, starts again. And this is the problem, of course. We need to win this game. We don't need to win this game, but it would be nice to win the game. This game means nothing. We drew versus Brentford, Bournemouth, and Arsenal lost and away from home to Bournemouth. I wonder what that media would have said if that was Man United. I wonder what the media would have said if Man United spent 5 to 6 years without a trophy. I would love to know that, because as well as Arsenal have done in the league, I mean, if you call it, guys, let me say, I'm just going to say one thing, right? When I was growing up, Man United coming second was like someone, you know, it was like basically, how was it? It was like the Great Depression. When Man United used to come, when Man United came second in the league, it was like the Great Depression. Trust me. I was depressed in 1995 when Man United came second to Blackburn. And you know what? And Arsenal in these sort of times, woke sort of times where it's okay to fail, have done well in a woke sort of era. They've done okay in a woke sort of era. But to be honest with you, I mean, not winning anything for 5-6 years. I mean, not even picking up a Carabao Cup. I mean, I know they won the FA Cup, which was ultimately Ruben Amorim, which was Emery's team, of course. But you know what? Since then, they haven't won anything. And you know what? It is quite funny, to be honest with you. Arsenal could end up being fourth place. They could quite quickly drop down that league. They're not qualified for the Champions League yet either. They could quite possibly drop out. Can you imagine that happen, guys? Can you imagine Arsenal get knocked out of the Champions League and end up missing out on Champions League football? I don't think they will. They have to go below fifth, because 5 teams go to the Champions League this season because of the sufficient the performances of English teams in Europe has ensured that England will get 5 teams at least in the Champions League. And if Man United win it, or Tottenham, they'll get 6. We have to be careful about 20 minutes of Atletico match. Athletic match. It's not athletic. Atletico, mate. A match we do not have to concede. We'll be fine. First 20 minutes, we'll be fine, mate. Athletic Bilbao, yes. How good is Fermin Lopez? I heard we made a low ball offer for him. Yeah, it's in my thumbnail, Al Mac. Thanks for ruining it. Also didn't even rotate their squad as well. Exactly. There you go. In fact, Arsenal played their strongest lineup against Bournemouth and still lost. And we played our weak lineup, of course. Big up, Karina. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good morning. Hope you're good. Good morning. Hope you're good. Manchester United, big club, win easy. Big up, Amir. Big up, Amir. I love the positivity. A bit too positive, but you know what? Yeah. PSG rest all their players. Good luck to Arsenal. I think it's going to be 2-0, 3-0, in my opinion. I think it is. Just imagine 3 trophies in 3 years. We've come. I mean, look, you just imagine this, Shah, right? 3 trophies in 3 years is some teams' golden period. It's some teams' golden period. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, this is meant to be Man United's worst period of all time. This is meant to be Man United's worst team of all time. Whatever you want to pull it in, whatever you want to sugarcoat it in, this is what it is at the end of the day, isn't it? And it does make me laugh. It really does make me laugh. Bear me a second. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good in the hood, guys. Earthan, what's going on, my friend? Good morning, Sal. You annoying me, forcing me to wake up and join. You're going to get me divorced, everybody in the house. Recognize your voice. Sorry, Durfan. Sorry. If I know I don't have the most, soothing voice in the world, especially now I've had flu and my voice is going a little bit funny, but I really appreciate you, Irfan. You are a legend, mate. Thank you for joining me every single morning. You know, you're an absolute diamond. Tell your wife you'll divorce her. If you don't let me listen to Stretford Post. Big up. Those who disrespected the disrespectful pundits and those brown envelopes would slander our club. Big up, Rasta. Good morning, Red. Do you know what excites me most? Ruben Amorim. Me too, mate. Me too. We have the same excitements in life. Big up. Big up. Natty. Arteta. Natty by nature, natty by choice. Arteta post-match interview also mind-blowing. He thinks he's Pep. The guy is full of excuses, for goodness sake. That guy should be a lawyer because, you know what, he just comes out with the excuses. I mean, I swear he must have been O.J. Simpson's lawyer. He must have been. That guy comes out with all sorts of nonsense. Kenny, I'll be honest, when we win the Europa League, I love it. I'd rather face Barcelona in Europa Super Cup. Their defense has been leaking shaky recently. You know what I would like? I would like to play that anyone. I would like to be in it. That would be amazing because one thing that we haven't been good in is the European Super Cup. We don't usually win it. Funny enough, it's weird, I know, but we don't seem to win the European Super Cup for some reason. And we need to make sure that changes. Absolutely. We need to make sure that changes. Shah, we've hired another person for the academy to get more talents. I mean, we've got a lot of those, haven't we? Who's going to nurture these players? Yet some fans are still positive about this. I mean, we need to have some experience in there. I agree with Shah there. We need to have some experience, definitely. Where is the set piece coach? They conceded the most. I mean, I don't know. Let me just put this up. Amir, sorry, just reading the text. Amir will take us back to the glory days. Yes, Amir. Yes, Amir. Big up, Amir. Big up, fan. John, what's going on? We seriously must have no money if we are after Tar. We're after a lot of free transfers at the moment. Doesn't bode well, does it? Amorim out is preparing for their run for today. Absolutely. What is it? The 24-hour Amorim outers. Dun, 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 dun. That is what it's going to be today. Guys, be aware. Be very aware, right? That today, if Manchester United fail to beat Brentford, you're going to see those same Ruben Amorim outers crawling from underneath the woodwork and start splurting their garbage online. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're good for. That's all they're good for. That's all they do. That is it. They splurt their garbage online. That's what they do. And they will do that today, not least today. They will do that. Even though we know that this game is a dud, it doesn't really matter. You know, even if we got a draw, I mean, I would love us to win. Of course, I want us to win every game. But even if we got a draw, I mean, it's not the worst result in the world. I personally want this Premier League to finish, so we just concentrate on the Europa League, and that's it. To be honest with you, but what I would say is that, you know what, just ignore these trolls, because that's all they are at the end of the day. They've already sacrificed themselves in regards to Ruben Amorim. They're very scared that in case they get made to look like plonkers, which is basically idiots. If Ruben Amorim goes out and he manages to win the Europa League, they would. Their apologies have to be louder than their abuse. If Ruben Amorim goes and wins that Europa League, they have to apologize to us. Every single one of them. We believe in you, Sir Amorim. Trust the process. Long-term project. Big up yourself. Do you think Tar is an agent-driven story? Just generate interest? No, I don't think it's actually got... We're on... He's always... Let me tell you something about Jonathan Tar, Shah Tar. Basically, Tar has been capturing the interest of Manchester United since before this summer. I spoke about Jonathan Tar last summer in regards to coming to Manchester United, and Manchester United were ready to pay for Tar, but Manchester United said they're going to wait until his contract expires in 2025. So his contract is expiring. The biggest thing about Tar, he's not crap. He is Bayern Munich and Real Madrid want Tar. He is a very good player, 29 years old though. But he's a player that we want, and don't be surprised if we get a free transfer, isn't it? At the end of the day, you know, and we are going to sign a couple of free transfers. Don't be surprised if we sign a free couple of transfers there. Absolutely. Rasta, Manchester United is my heaven. Glory to God, I believe in the chance is coming, and we will rise once again. Big up, Rasta. Big up, my friend. Anyone who is Amorim out is clueless. Absolutely. Yes, managers fail, but in most cases, it's due to a lack of support from the club and inheriting a bad squad and coming in mid-season, yeah, with a distinctively different style of football without his players. Let's not forget last season, there's no McTominay now. There's no Rashford now. There's no Anthony now. There's no Malacia now, right? And Luke Shaw's been injured for whole of the season. Mason Mount as well has been injured for whole of the season, more or less. And he's had one player come in of his own, right? And people expect this miracle from Ruben Amorim that he's going to come in and he's going to turn crap players into world-class players and everything's going to be hunky-dory. I mean, these people, they don't really analyze football. They don't really look at football the way they should look at football. And it annoys me. That annoys me. It really does, because they don't look at contextual evidence. You know, thank God they're not lawyers, those guys. Thank God they're not lawyers. Absolutely. Kenny, we will beat Brentford. Big up, Kenny. Much love to Kenny. Big up. I do not think Tar will come. He will go Bayern. I mean, if Bayern come in, Natty by choice, Natty by nature. If Bayern come in, Man United will have a task on convincing Tar. Unless Jonathan Tah wants to come to the Premier League, which is quite attractive because obviously he's been playing in Germany his whole career. He might want to come to the Premier League. Going to Bayern, I wouldn't do that if I was him. They've got a good team there. I would come to Man United. I would say that. Bet Arsenal would like Bruno over Odegaard. Look, you know what? You know one thing about me, guys. I'm one of them guys. I'm very fair on people. I'm very fair on opposition players. Like Odegaard's a very good player, but Odegaard is going through a bad time. And you know what? One thing about Odegaard, he is a young player. And I said this before all these comparisons came against Bruno. Bruno is the finished article. Bruno is, a class player who's at a peak of his career. Odegaard is still a young player. Odegaard still has a lot to learn. So the comparisons were very disrespectful, in my opinion, in regards to Odegaard and Bruno. I mean, it's typical Arsenal, isn't it? Arsenal. I mean, if Arsenal had their choice of the best team in Premier League history, that every single one of their players would be Arsenal players. That is the way Arsenal are. Maybe some may say that maybe I would pick Man United players, the whole Premier League, but Man United are just. Man United will deserve to have a full team full of Man United players because we dominate the Premier League. Let me just put my microphone. I keep knocking my microphone out. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean. The manager did say there will be pain. Exactly. But people didn't want to listen to that. They wanted to listen to their own opinion. That's what they want to listen to. They don't want to listen to the fact that the manager said we will suffer, there will be pain and stuff like that. They didn't want nothing to do with that. I mean, they pretended they listened to it. They pretended that they put it in their head. But in reality, they didn't. They just said, okay. And then after a couple of days, maybe he's not the guy, You know what I mean? The Amorim outages are exposed because they thought sacking Ten Hag was going to fix everything. You know what? People think, right? Because I heard when Eric Ten Hag was in charge of Manchester United, I heard that anyone could win the league with this team. Now, I'm not saying that Ruben. Look, let's be real here. Eric Ten Hag. Eric Ten Hag's signings were great. Ugarte, De Ligt, Licha. He brought through Mainu. He brought through Garnacho. You look at these players, right? And he's given Ahmad more of a chance as well. You look at these players that came to Manchester United. Lenny Yoro, another one, right? And Mazraoui. Great players. The problem is, as I've always said, is the culture at the football club. The culture at the football club is poisonous. From the top, resonates all the way to the bottom. It's poisonous. And this is why, unless we fix this culture at this football club, we're not going to progress. It doesn't matter if we had Lamine Yamal. It doesn't matter if we had Pedri. It doesn't matter. We have a cultural problem at this football club, which is like a virus that passes down from the top all the way to the bottom. And I can see, and those who wish to see and want to see, I can see that Ruben Amorim is trying to change this culture at the football club. I can see what he's trying to do. This is why, as soon as he came into this football club, Rashford out the door. I mean, what other manager has done that? Rashford had the power, didn't he? He was the one with all the power. Look, as soon as he came through the door, out the door. As simple as that, We need a left-sided centre-back. We got Aiden Heaven, and we got Luke Shaw, and we got Licha Martinez. But it depends how fit they can stay. Which is why I'm talking about Ignacio. I would love Ignacio at Man United, by the way. Natty would be brilliant. I disagree. I think that it is a plus. He would demand big wages. Best is signing on fee and agent fees. We paid 15 million for Ericsson and even thought it was just for free. I disagree. I think it is plus he would demand big wages. Never a plus to demand big wages. It's a negative. If a player demands big wages, it is a negative. Obviously. Amir, we really need Osman Jukiriti and Delap. Edison, I would love that, Amir, but it's never going to happen, my bro. I take him, but I don't massively believe it. Why not, Shah? Who's your sauce, Shah? Kind sauce? Barbecue sauce? Do you think I come on here and talk crap, Shah? I was the first one to talk about Dorgu. I was the first one to talk about Eric Ten Hag being sacked. Rasta would tell you that. You know, at the end of the day, look, you know what? Believe what you want at the end of the day. Whoever identified Amorim as the manager to take us back. And also, let me tell you something about transfers. Being linked to a player doesn't mean you're not linked to a player. It also doesn't mean that you're going to buy the player. It means that you are linked to a player. Every single team has a transfer wish list, right? That is how it goes, right? They have a transfer wish list. Man United, in this case, have a transfer wish list, a Europa League transfer wish list, no European football transfer wish list, and Champions League football transfer wish list. That's what we have. Doesn't mean you're going to sign every single player off that wish list. Man United have Jonathan Tah on their wish list. Now, on their wish list is Jonathan Tah, which I exposed, and you can scroll down from last summer that Man United wanted Jonathan Tah, but they were going to wait until the summer to see if they can get him on a free transfer if he was still available. So we have to wait and see in regards to that. Realistically, what striker do you think we would get? Karina, I would say that in regards to the striker that Man United get, it would depend if Man United are in Champions League football. If Man United qualify for the Champions League, I see no reason why Man United can't attract the likes of Gutierrez and Osterman. But if Man United don't qualify for European football, the only players we're really realistically going to attract is the likes of Delap. Now, look, I want to say something very, very clearly, right? Musa, who is in Manchester United's youth team, played alongside Lamine Yamal. Why don't we give Musa a chance? Why don't we do that? I mean, Musa scored 6 goals for the reserves, you know, a few weeks ago. Why don't we give Musa a chance? He's obviously got the ability. So why don't we put him on the bench? This is one thing. If I was to say one thing about Ruben Amorim, I say, Ruben, tonight, right, today, this afternoon, wherever you are in the world, you know what? We don't need to win against Brentford. Why don't you try some new players out? JJ Gabriel scored yesterday, by the way. Big up JJ Gabriel, 14 years old. Unbelievable talent. But he's too young. But the likes of Musa, he's played alongside Lamine Yamal. Give that guy a chance. He might, you know, he might become a generational. You've got to give the guy a chance. We should go for Ignacio. We need a left-sided. Come on, Shah, man. We got 3. People actually think Bruno would get into Alex Ferguson's squad, maybe the bench, but never plus played 4-4-2. Where would he fit? I don't know about that, Shah. It's hypothetical. I was there in the 90s, Shah. Let's not act like that everything was hunky-dory. We had David May, Jonathan Greening, Luke Chadwick. You know what I mean? Ben Thornley. In the Man United squad. What I would say, however, is that there are many players in world football that wouldn't have got in that Man United team because we had Paul Scholes, Roy Keane, David Beckham, Ryan Giggs. You know what I mean? In that team before that, we had Paul Ince and Brian Robson. You know, we had a very, very good squad. There's hardly anyone in world football today. Lamine Yamal wouldn't get a Man United squad. We were that good. Guys, we were that good. They were getting the squad, they wouldn't get into the first team in regards to 4-4-2. They wouldn't get into the first team. Kenny, Odegaard shouldn't even be captain for Arsenal, to be honest. The pressure got to... Kenny, you make a good point there. You're very, very good point, because I've noticed a trend with the fact that when he got the captaincy and his performances, because when he got the captaincy, his performances started to drop, didn't they? You know what I mean? His performances started to drop. You can have all the big names in the team, but if your chef do not know how to cook, the result is the same. Poor results. We are in a good position. i.e. the good manager, people expect, speaking of that analogy, fan, people expect, let's say Ruben Amorim is the best Italian chef in the world, right? And his speciality dish is lasagna, right? And we've given Ruben Amorim chips, tin of baked beans, and some sweet corn. And we said to him, cook a lasagna, make it work. This is exactly what has happened to Ruben Amorim. This is exactly what people expect from Ruben Amorim. Miracles. Big up, Tyberg. What's going on, you legend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Bless up. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Bless up. Of all the big names around, I should fall in. Only one sticks to my mind. Trincao, don't kill me. So I'm not going to kill you. It's just subjective, fan. He's a good player. The thing is that this is a very important decision, fan. Now, you know, I say that it could be Trincao, it could be Cherky, it could be Cunha, it could be any one of these players. It could be Mastantuono. You know, one of those players is the right player for Man United. Has to be. One of those players is the right player for Man United. Now, it's a very big decision because it is a big part of our team that we need. And, you know, I do agree that Trincao will be a good signing. I think Man United need more than one, but we're not going to get more than one, you know. And, I'm not. The jury's still out of Cunha. Cunha looks like he's the one who probably will sign for Man United, but the jury is still out for me. But it is subjective. And, you know, we have to look at things from a way that, you know, I joke around with you a lot, fan, and that's what I do. You know, we do it. But if Trincao came into the football club, I'd be absolutely delighted, as with Cunha, as with Cherky, as with Mastantuono, because I know that is an upgrade. You know, personally, I feel like the likes of Ahmad need competition. They need players who are experienced, who can nurture them, who they can learn off and stuff like that. A bit like the striker. This is why, in a way, I feel sorry for the likes of Rasmus Højlund and stuff like that. You know, because they have no one to learn off, no one to feed off, and stuff like that. You know, and that is the big issue. Natty, if we win the Europa League and they go only for Delat, we are doomed. If we win the Europa League and they go for Delat, that would be an absolute disgrace, Natty. An absolute disgrace. So if we win the Europa League, do you think we'll get Gutierrez instead of Delat? I think that we'll get someone along those lines. I wouldn't say exclusively Gutierrez. I think we'll get an Osman or a Gutierrez, something like that. I'm putting myself out on a limb here. I think if Man United win the Europa League, they will sign a world-class striker. I think that. One that is ready, fit and ready. Irfan, if Wilson was Captain Marvel, probably even better than that. What is Bruno's adjective to describe his captaincy? Captain. It's a good question. Captain. Inspire. Captain inspire. Captain inspirational. Because what he's had to deal with coming into this toxic environment, and this is what I mean about the way things have been at Manchester United, especially in the last 10 years. This is why a lot of players who come into this football club, it gets very toxic very quickly. We've had some great players coming to the football club. You know, we've had Cavani, for goodness sake, and Ibrahimovic, and that. And, you know, the atmosphere at the football club has been horrible because obviously the Glazers and things, you know, and no matter what, you know, whenever we get a golden charm, whenever we get something positive, we have to appreciate it. And for me, Bruno is inspirational. So I call him Captain Inspirational because he plays every single game. He's always available. You know, he's the only one really who makes a difference. No, he doesn't play every single game to his level, but neither does any one of our players on our pitch. So, you know, no, who does? I mean, I remember loads of players who played for Man United in the past who didn't always reach their maximum level. But Bruno is an inspirational player. Rasta. One of the things I could say, Sal, is that well-connected. He does do his research, and he did call it about Erik ten Hag before it happened. Listen carefully, people. Thank you, Rasta. Thank you. I don't like speaking garbage. I don't like coming on here. You know what? You know what the funniest thing is? The funniest thing is, you know those big fan chat, those big content creators, right? I will make a story. There will be a story that I heard of, right? And let's not forget that all stories don't come true. I mean, they may be true that we're after this type of player, but it doesn't mean that we will get them. But it doesn't not mean that we're not interested in them at the same time. There are big, huge content creators who, when I post something, for example, we're after this player or we're after that player, I was told last summer that we're not going to get Dorgu. We're not going to get Dorgu. I was told when I said we're getting Dorgu. You know, and the thing is that, you know, then weeks later, they start acting like they broke the news. They're the ones who broke the news. Oh, it's Ornstein and Fabrizio broke the news. But you know what? There's a reason I fly to Italy every summer. There's a reason I go there. There's a reason I do my research. There's a reason I do this for a living at the end of the day. And no, look, at the end of the day, football's a funny game. Things can be, change. Things can change pretty quickly in football. And that's one thing. Big up Rasta, by the way. Much love to you. Shah, big up, Smash the Lights. Thank you so much, Shah. Thank you. If anyone from this team would get in the third game, it's Bruno. Tyborg, spot on. I would say this, like, Tyborg knows, I know, we watched the 90s team. We were there. And, you know, what I would say in regards to this team and the team of Man United, it's very difficult because the team of Man United under Sir Alex Ferguson were made to look. I'm going to say this right now, guys. I'm going to say this right now. Many of those players who played in the Sir Alex Ferguson period were made to look better than they are. They were made to look better than they are because of Alex Ferguson. Alex Ferguson could get a team of Fletcher and Carrick in defence with Rafael and Fabio as a right and left midfielder, Owen up front, Gibson in the midfield, and go to the likes of Wolfsburg in the Champions League and win 3-1. That was what Alex Ferguson was. That is what a genius Alex Ferguson was. This is why I don't exclusively say that you can't get in a team. You can't. I think De Ligt is the kind of player that Alex Ferguson would have liked. I think Yoro is the type of player Alex Ferguson would have liked. Whether they get in the team or not is another story. But I'm talking about the squad. And I think like there are players in this team, and Bruno's definitely one of them, who would have been a big part of Alex Ferguson's team, because it's not only about Bruno's ability, it's about Bruno's personality. And Alex Ferguson was big on personality. He was big on, you know what, mentality and the will to win and always available. And I think he would have loved Bruno. He would have absolutely loved Bruno. Natty, big up Tyborg. So, do you think Bruno will start for Sir Alex Ferguson's team? Maybe not start, but maybe be in the first team squad. Alex Ferguson rotated a lot, so he probably would have played a lot of football, definitely. When I look at Alex Ferguson's team, people say, will he get in the Alex Ferguson squad? I find it a little bit disrespectful. The reason I find that disrespectful is because we had the likes of Greening, Chris Eagles, David May, you know, Luke Chadwick, and that. Of course, Bruno would have got in the squad. Of course, he would have got in the squad. He would have done. And Bruno probably would have thrived and probably would have won more trophies and stuff like that. But it's all hypothetical, of course. How many knows that Brian Wilson versus Diego Maradona final result? Robson 2, Maradona 0. That's how good the club were. Man United 2-leg. Yeah, I remember that, mate. Yeah. It was a very bobbly pitch, though, Irfan. Irfan, a very bobbly pitch. Sal, did Mantato travel with the squad and play right wing back? Man, no, he didn't travel with the squad. Marshall, sorry. Matt, he didn't travel with the squad, as far as I'm aware. Big up, Irfan. Would you play Luke Shaw as left wing back or left centre back? I personally play him as left centre back. I want him to running up and down, especially considering the fact that he's injury prone. I would play him as a left centre side, same as you, Shaw. I play him as a left sided centre back myself. I would definitely. I honestly admire Giggs. He was quite young when he had the privilege to play with Robson. Robson is one of those players. He typifies Manchester United, who represents Manchester United. You know, he's one of those players that, you know what, I loved. When I started supporting Man United in the late 80s, he was coming towards the end of his career. And I remember Robson from the 1986 World Cup, and I remember going on and supporting Man United and remembering Robson, even though he was coming to the end of his career, he was still brilliant. He was still fantastic. He was still scoring goals, you know. He was still making things happen. And you know what? This is one thing that Alex Ferguson did when he brought in Roy Keane. He wanted Roy Keane to be the mould of Brian Robson, and he done a brilliant job in making a mold of Brian Robson. Absolutely. Brian Robson's a legend. Gladiator King, how you doing, my friend? It looks like Arsenal are not going to compete the hat trick. There you go, Gladiator King. Arsenal talk too much too soon, and it's a big, very naive to talk too much too soon. Very, very much so. Which one player did you wish worked out but didn't under Sir Alex Ferguson for me, Veron? That's one of them. Definitely, yeah. Juan Sebastian Veron is a player that I wished worked out for Manchester United. Definitely. If I think about any other players that play for Man United that I wish worked out, which didn't quite work out. You know what I wish? I wish Jaap Stam. And I know Jaap Stam won a treble. I know he won the Premier League. I know. But Jaap Stam went too early. I wish it worked out between him and Alex Ferguson. Because I believe Jaap Stam was a generational talent. I think Jaap Stam was a fantastic player. And I think that when Jaap Stam left Manchester United, we suffered. And I wish that happened. Veron is definitely one up there. He's up there, Shah. He's up there. But I wish that Jaap Stam, in a different way, worked out. I really do. You know, that book, that story that he wrote, obviously. Ryan Giggs underrated. Yeah, how people don't put him in the top 11 of all time, I don't really understand. I mean, the most decorated player of all time in English football. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Who recommended Amorim to the board? The best call ever? Yeah, I think the fans did, to be honest, Irfan. I think the fans all wanted him. He was one of the most wanted managers in the world. Real Madrid would have got Amorim. Trust me. They were looking at Amorim. Liverpool couldn't afford Amorim. Liverpool wanted Amorim. Amorim would have won the league with Liverpool as well. Let's not get it twisted. You know, they wanted him as well. What I like about Amorim is he's truthfully, for the fans, reminds me of Ragnick. Yeah. What I like about Amorim, right, he's humble. He's not only truthful, he's humble. He speaks the truth. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. He tells you, you know, he doesn't lie, you know, and he doesn't talk about, you know, he tells you about the team, about himself, about what needs to improve. And I would love him to win the Europa League. It'd be incredible if he wins the Europa League, you know, because of what has happened this season. It would be incredible. I think we should start with Obi today. What's there to lose? I agree, Gladiator. Why not? Why not start with Obi today? What is there to lose? Absolutely, Gladiator. And we're not going to lose. I think Obi will have a good game if he plays today. I think we need to look at other players now. It's a sad that we haven't got Mantato, Kamarson in the squad, which I would have loved to see them play. Of course, I picked my my starting 11 yesterday, and I picked Mantato in the team, but obviously it's not going to happen. Ryan Giggs doesn't get the respect he deserves. He's underrated, scored in every Premier League season. He doesn't, no. Man United players in general, let me say this about it. Man United players in general don't get the respect they deserve. Schmeichel's the best goalkeeper. The best defenders are Man United defenders. Vidic, Stam, Ferdinand, Pallister, Bruce. The best left back is between, I would argue, is between Evra, Irwin, and Ashley Cole. The best right back, I think Gary Neville's better than Kyle Walker, but they're going to pick Kyle Walker. But I think Gary Neville was better than Kyle Walker. And then you think about the best midfielder, Vieira, Scholes, Keane. You know, at the end of the day, it's going to be that. It's going to be one of that. Ryan Giggs, best left midfielder, right? Cristiano Ronaldo. Then you got Beckham. Then you got all these players. You know, and then you look at the strikers: Dwight York, Andy Cole, Ruud van Nistelrooy. You know, Mark Hughes. You know, Eric Cantona. You know, I mean, but they don't want, they just want to ignore all those players at Man United. Do you know what I mean? They want to ignore. When they're picking the greatest 11 of all time, they never want to pick the Man United players in. You know, they want to pick Arsenal. They want to pick Liverpool. They want to, anyone who thinks Steven Gerrard's a better player than Paul Scholes is off his nut. Off his nut. Gerrard, when you needed Gerrard would slip. Gerrard would give away the ball. I urge a lot of people to watch England versus France in Euro 2004. Watch what Gerrard does. I urge you to watch Liverpool against Chelsea when Gerrard slips on his backside. There's been many times Gerrard has given the ball away in crucial moments of games. Absolutely. The specialist advised open heart surgery. Nobody gave us a surgeon's name. Ruben Amorim. Absolutely. There you go, brother. I would love it to see that Amorim and Ralph Rangnick work together. I mean, I would never got rid of Ralph Rangnick. Ralph Rangnick would have been put upstairs, because Ralph Rangnick was always a good scout of players. He was always good at finding the next gem and stuff. And I would have kept him. And that was the initial plan, wasn't it? It's just because he spoke up in regards to the Glazers. The Glazers didn't like it. They didn't like it. And this is what brings me swiftly onto spin. Now, there has been talk about Torres of Barcelona. There's been talk about Cunha. There's been talk about Wharton. There's been a lot of talk about Man United. The spin of Man United, the transfer targets of Man United have been spinning around and around and around. There's also been talk about Jim Ratcliffe buying the club fully. Now, I was under the impression, right, that Jim Ratcliffe has no money. People were telling me around the world, everyone was telling me, but Jim has no money, Sal. How's he going to afford that, Sal? Well, if he can afford 5 billion, why can't he afford to build our squad? Why can't he afford to buy players on the pitch? You know what I mean? There you go. He contradicts himself. He's just blatantly contradicted himself. We're talking about stadiums. We're talking about full buyouts. We're talking about clearing the debt. And then, you know what I mean? and then he's saying, I can't afford, a 6 million to pay for, Tell or something like that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it does make me giggle. It does. The lies that get spewed over the airways. They said Gerrard is better because he plays for a bad side. Liverpool's team was not a bad side. He played alongside Xabi Alonso. Xabi Alonso won Champions Leagues with Real Madrid. That's just an excuse. He played alongside Fernando Torres. You know, he played alongside those Harry Kewell and, Vladimir Schweitzer. Come on. No way. That's just an excuse. It's an excuse. Absolute excuse. Scholes was far better. The treatment of Ralph Rangnick was disrespectful for the media, especially they did not give Ten Hag before. Yeah, absolutely. Ryan Giggs not in the Hall of Fame is jokes. It's mad, isn't it, Alex? The most decorated player in football history is not in the Hall of Fame. That's the thing, isn't it? That's the hate of Man United. That's the agenda of Man United. This is why Man United fans as a whole, as a collective, Man United fans need to stick together and understand that, these people are going to hate us. They're going to hate us. And, we need to love ourselves and make sure that we are together as a fan base. Tyborg, Rangnick seemed like an honest person who really wanted good for the United. Absolutely. Unfortunately, because of the Glazers' honesty and competency was never appreciated at this club since 2013. Anyone who spoke up in regards to the Glazers would feel the wrath of the Glazers and will get sacked. And that is what happened with Rangnick. Rangnick spoke the truth. The truth, unfortunately, hurt the Glazers. Right? And if the Glazers can't see the overbearing truth, then obviously they got an egotistical problem there, haven't they? And what the Glazers are is disgraceful. The way they treated Eric David De Gea was treated, the way that Ralph Rangnick was treated, it's left a stain on the club, so to speak. It really has, because we used to be immaculately run as a football club. We used to be respected. We've got stains on this football club, definitely. Bad ones. Glazers and Ineos out. There you go. Now, Ineos wanting to buy the football club, I believe that when I see it. I'm not going to absolutely believe everything I hear, because that is like, oh, we're going to sell Nice, but you know what? We're going to spend the money on buying the football club. Nice are worth 250 billion. Man United, they need to pay the Glazers another 5 billion if they're going to get the club from the Glazers. It's not going to happen, is it, at the end of the day? Unless they were lying. They've got money to buy the club fully. Well, when you look at it, they did want to buy Chelsea, didn't they? They did have the money to buy Chelsea. They were going to spend 4 billion on Chelsea, weren't they? Mad. If Ratcliffe buy all the club, do you trust him? No. I'm glad De Gea will get the treatment he deserves at Old Trafford, but I'm glad as well. Funny how Scholes apologized to Amon after the game versus Bilbao. He disrespected Amon. Yes, we have 8 defenders on the team sheet, but 2 scored. Big up. I mean, at least he apologized. It's good. If you can admit you're wrong, that is a quality of a person. That is class, because some people don't. There's people in our fan base who splurt a lot of garbage. There's people who still need to apologize about Eric Ten Hag right now. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they assured us that any other manager in world football would win the league with this team. But I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, it's just the way it is. You can't change people, can you? At the end of the day, football's subjective, The only thing is I don't like is when football goes into the realms of agendas, when football goes into the realms of abuse. For example, the Peanut Head Brigade and the Bald Fraud Brigade, or the Portuguese Fraud Brigade, and things like that. I don't like these kind of things in football because, and in particular, Manchester United, I don't think this is not what Manchester United are all about at the end of the day. I would say that. And when they talk like that about our manager, it's disgrace. Sure. I don't want Ratcliffe as a full owner. I prefer Qatar in. What I would say, Shah, is that Manchester United incredibly disrespected Qatar, lied about Qatar, about the financing, lied about them, made up all these stories, the virtual signaling, the human rights thing. They made up all these stories and threw these emotional things at us, those same people who were supporting Ineos and believing all these stories about Qatar are the same people who turn a blind eye from genocide in the Middle East. They're the same people who did that. They'll turn a blind eye about that. No, that's all right. No. Even though the Glazers are from that same part of the world, ignore about that. Ignore that. Doesn't matter. But, Qatar, you know what I mean? Oh, human rights. You know what I mean? La. Heard it all before, And the only reason that a lot of these people supported Jim Ratcliffe because he looks like them, and I would say that as an Englishman. I mean, Natty, if Southgate was a manager, they would not say anything. Of course, they wouldn't. God forbid Southgate was manager. There was even a leak about he didn't provide funds or something. It was a lie. Listen, one thing I would say, Shah, about manipulation in business. I've been in business. There is manipulation. There's lies. There's fraud. There's bribery. There's things like that happen. People pay various outlets, to lie for them. And that happens all the time. I think 12th for me, and also Europa League trophy. If we win the Europa League trophy, my goodness me, I'm going to be so smug, guys. I'm going to be so smug. It's going to be unbelievable. You know what I mean? I'm going to be unbelievably smug. Big up, Steve-O. What's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Good to see Steve. Hope you're doing good. Big up, everyone. This project that United are in right now is to try and become the best team. What position would you realistically make you happy in the mid-table next season? Steve, I would say first, but I know it's not going to happen. I know it's unrealistic. But, what would make me happy next season is Champions League qualification, Steve, and a trophy. And I think that will be progress for Manchester United. That would be progress for Manchester United. Absolutely. Listen, Kenny, I'm English, right? And I'm tired of... Southgate has cost England 3 tournaments because of his cowardice. Southgate is costing England 3 tournaments because of his cowardice. Honest to God. Ineos took Qatar's idea of developing Old Trafford in its surrounding, and it appears it's his idea. He is just a glutton of sins rather than improving a club. Absolutely, Irfan, spot on. And I can't disagree with this. I can't agree with this any more than what I am right now, because number one, if Qatar are in charge of the football club right now, Old Trafford will be staying where it is, and we'll be building Old Trafford into the stadium that it is, and the regeneration project and that stuff like that. Even though the regeneration project was not Jim Ratcliffe's idea, it was brought forward in 2018 by the Glazers because they're greedy. This is why the Glazers are not going anywhere. This is why they're going to spend, another 10 years in. Qatar would have already built, this squad would already look very different. The only great thing I would say that Ineos have done was bringing in Ruben Amorim. That's the only thing. But that's not to say that Qatar wouldn't have brought in Ruben Amorim. But one thing that Qatar would have done, they would have cleared our debt, got rid of the Glazers, and it would have helped with our FFP and PSR. That's what would have happened at the end of the day. Hit the lights. Big up, Randy. Hope you're doing well. Qatar in. Big up, Emir. Tyberg, these people who cry about human rights in Qatar should really look at into the USA's wrongdoings around the world. Double standards, if you ask me. Tyberg, there you go. You know the truth, don't you? You know the truth. At the end of the day, we know why they don't want Qatar, and it has nothing to do with footballing reasons. USA should never host a football event. A country that calls football soccer should not be hosting a World Cup. A World Cup, again, they hosted the 1994 World Cup, which was flipping shit, by the way. And they're going to host another World Cup. They shouldn't be hosting a European or South American sport, in my opinion. America shouldn't. It should go to Europe. It should go to South America. It should go to a country that loves the game. You know what I mean? That loves the game. England were the inventors of football. Have only hosted the World Cup once. You know, why can't it go to England? Why can't it go to Spain? You know what I mean? Spain haven't hosted the World Cup since 1982. You know, you look at that, Italy haven't hosted the World Cup since 1990. Yet we got USA who are about to host the World Cup for the second time in 30 years. Why is that? You know what I mean? And plus you add on top of that their record in regards to human rights, in regards to fake wars for oil, in regards to this, in regards to that, in regards to this. You know what I mean? In regards to, multiple genocides in their own country and blame someone else. You know what I mean? And things like that, you know, and it is sad. It is sad, isn't it? It is. Shah, if Ineos go hire Gareth Southgate next season, Southgate out day one. Shah, there you go. Sheikh Jassim, big up Amir. We would have been in a better position if with Qatar he actually wanted to succeed on the pitch, not business. And also, this is the difference between these greasy Glazers and people like that and Jim Ratcliffe, they worship money. Qatar, UAE, all these countries, they don't worship money. They worship money. Tybo, totally agree. Absolutely. Tybo, the legend. Spot on. Absolutely. USA tops in human rights, arresting people for talking Qatar is better. I mean, you know, what's going on in the world right now and the blind eyes that have been taken and the blind eyes that have been shown just goes to show you everything. I mean, if you agree with what's going on in the world right now, you're just a bad person. You know, you're just a bad, evil person that has sinister, racist agendas. And I wanted to watch this World Cup in 2022 in Qatar, and I wanted to enjoy it. Unfortunately, because I only had access to UK television in the UAE at the time, I was barraged with a virtual signaling escapade that, you know what, was basically horrible. They didn't show us the opening ceremony. They totally destroyed Arab culture, and they didn't want to show you anything positive in regards to Arab culture, even though Qatar owns half of England, right? And you know what? It was a disgrace for me. It was a disgrace. And if you can't go to a country and abide by those countries' laws, just like whenever anyone goes to England, they abide by those laws, then you know what? Don't go to that country if you don't like it. It's as simple as that. I live in the Middle East. I've been living in the Middle East now for 3 years. I've never felt more safe. I can leave my mobile phone on the table outside. I can leave my money. I can leave my wallet, my laptop, anything, and nothing will happen to it. It'll be there tomorrow. You know what I mean? And these people just, you know, they know that, but it doesn't fit their let me tell you something, right, in regards to Zionism. Zionism own the media. And that's the last thing I would say about that. As a guy for music. I agree, Tybo. Big up Shah. Big up. Natty, who said we do not want Qatar money? We are a sustainable club. Where are they? I know. I think anyone who didn't want Qatar, I would love to know where they are right now. The apologies and stuff. The only thing Glazers did is lesser extent because it was a big brand anyway. Is the club's commercial value, which they rate them profits anyway. Now we must rebuild. Absolutely. I mean, unfortunately, they won't use. You also need to keep their noses out of the other countries' affairs. Spot on, guys. Absolutely. And also, they need to keep their nose out of football because every time they touch football, let's look at this, right? They've ruined Manchester United. They've ruined Manchester United. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Are you wearing a nostalgic t-shirt? I love it. Yeah, I'm wearing an Italian t-shirt, mate. Yeah. I'm wearing an Italian one. If there was FFP and if there was no FFP and PSR, Ineos would shat their pants. Absolutely sure. This is why I don't get FFP and PSR, because FFP and PSR have had the adverse effect on football. They've actually made it worse, because at the end of the day, it's encouraging teams to sell their best young players. How does that work in a team's favor? How does it? How does that even? I don't get it. I really don't. I think you spend what you have, and that's it. Why do they have to do all this maths that you have to make that much money from there to spend that much money? It's only affecting, it's actually making the teams at the top stronger. You know, at the end of the day, because the teams at the bottom don't accumulate as much money. And from what I'm seeing, it's just that there is this, it's making football boring, to be honest, in my opinion. It really is. And it is what it is. Guys, I will be back for the watch along tonight. 4:30 p.m. Middle Eastern time, I will be here. 1:30 p.m. UK time, I will be here live, guys. Please make sure you make it for the game. Really appreciate it. I know it's a nothing game. I know that Man United don't really need to win this game, but it will be interesting to see the lineup. It will be interesting to see what Man United do in this game. I would love us to win the game. I would love us to win the game. We do deserve to win at Brentford's ground, of course. We need to get one over them. They talk about Amorim. Why do they not talk about the owners? Because they were wrong, and their ego prevents them from doing that, Natty. Their ego prevents them from talking about the owners because they fully back the owners blindly. Tyburg, FFP and PSR is just a tool to UEFA to smoothly do their corruption things. Absolutely, Tyburg. That is what it is at the end of the day. That is what it is, and that is absolutely spot on from Tyburg. Spot on. It's all boils down to money, doesn't it? I'll take the fan all day long. Big up, Amir. I'll be here for the watch along, guys. As always, big up, Tybo. Look forward to seeing you, mate. And guys, please don't forget to smash a like on the video. And if you're new, if you're watching, if I don't see you, please subscribe to the channel as well. We're on our road to 20K. Let's do this, guys. And guys, please don't forget to put your notifications on as well. Catch you later, Kenny. See you later, brother. Absolutely. Great show. Thank you, Amir. Big up yourself. Don't forget to catch me later for the watch along between Man United and Brentford. Have a great day, guys. Enjoy your Sunday. I'm Sal Warner. This is Breaking Dawn. Peace.